And my name is Karen Albright Lynn, and I am an editor and a pitch consultant, as well as a produced screenwriter. I write novels, and I write shorts, and I've written a literary cookbook. And if you're asking what that is, it means, well, in my case, it has folk tales that go along with it. For the antagonist, we don't need to know Jerry Cucumber. We only need, well, in that case you might, because it's implying that it's comedic. That might be an exception. A murderer on the run. Because what you're trying to do is give an idea of that person, what the conflict is, potentially a flaw in the character. A bitter McDonald's employee shoots up an entire, McDonald's. We don't need to know his name, unless it's Bill Clinton. Then we want to know his name, because that is probably the high concept itself. In your pitch, it's great if you can have a very clear goal for your protagonist. And the goal for the antagonist will probably be implicit when you're discussing the obstacle and the conflict, which will be inside of that pitch. E.T.'s goal was to phone home. And in Armageddon, they want to save the Earth because a giant asteroid is on the way. It's good also to make sure that you've implied an obstacle. I mentioned that battle against thousands of years of tradition. This was a best-selling book, Memoirs of a Geisha, which of course was not a memoir. You know that, right? It was really a novel written by a man and became a fairly popular movie.
It was a very good book.
It was an excellent book. And actually the movie was fairly true to the book, which is kind of unusual. It's hard to do also. Okay, in this one, very well-known older movie, an angel helps a suicidal man by showing him what life in his small town would be like if he never existed. See how short and sweet that is? And you've got a power word there. I'd say 3. Angel, suicidal, and it never existed, I think. Goes together as a phrase that's pretty powerful. Okay, and I mentioned already that you'd want to imply the genre. It's not always, mine is a YA about. But if your main character is a 17-year-old going on a quest to find the dragon that she believes is her grandfather, that implies YA, doesn't say it outright. I'm not saying that you shouldn't introduce yourself by saying you've written a book that is mainstream novel or women's fiction or what have you, but often if your pitch is really strong, it's already implicit. It tells what the story is about. Secret Diary of a Call Girl, you kind of got an idea of what that is, right? Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein. Now that actually is really good because it also implies humor, fantasy, famous words, famous names. Those famous names are always good to throw in there if they are in your novel. Titanic gives you a sense of history. It's a well-known event. You almost don't even need to say much more than just Titanic. It's a love story that takes place on the Titanic. People love memorable events. Intriguing title is a really great one. How many of you love your title? How many of you hate your title? How many of you don't care one way or the other about your title? Okay, you're going to have to work on that title because you're going to have to like it yourself. If you don't have a passion for your book and your title, that's not good. Now, you do have to know they often change it. Did they change yours, Esri? Was your
No, I sold on the title.
okay? Yay! Hers already implies humor. Chihuahua of the Baskervilles, mystery, of course, and famous place, right? Famous name, famous place.
It's not. It's just it uses that as a starting off point, so it doesn't take place in the moors of England. It takes place in Manitou Springs.
And Chihuahua, which of course is very appealing because it's like one of the most well-known breeds, and they're so cute, especially hers. Okay, Lucifer's Tears conjures an idea, right? An image, actually a little bit of intrigue. It's kind of fascinating sounding. Okay, example of what would be a bland title versus a good title that at least gives you a sense of the history and makes you curious. The Man Who Helped Jews, would that have been a better title? The Man Who Helped Jews? It might say a little bit more about the essence or seed of the story, and you could work it into your pitch. But the title itself needs to be more powerful. Often shorter titles are good. Schindler's List was a better title. How many of you have intriguing locales? Where's your setting? Is it someplace like, Egypt near the pyramids?